1957, the BBC programme Panorama pulled off what's regarded as one of the greatest April Fool's hoaxes of all time. They produced a 2.5-minute supposed documentary showing farmers in Switzerland pulling spaghetti off the trees in the annual Swiss spaghetti harvest. Of course, there are no spaghetti trees. The BBC had simply bought a whole load of spaghetti, draped it over trees, and paid actors to dress in farming gear and pull the spaghetti off. In a sense, that stands as an image for this year of growth teaching arc. We began right at the beginning by reminding one another that each of us bears responsibility for the environment in which we place ourselves and the food we receive, and then God has promised to give us growth. We reminded ourselves that we don't begin with the externals. You can't put spaghetti on trees. You can't put the fruit of the Spirit or an evangelistic gift onto a human being. Those things have to grow from within, and they do so according to the promise of Jesus as we allow Him to transform us. An orange tree exerts not one bit of energy striving to push oranges out. Rather, provided the orange tree is placed in good soil and gets fed by sun and rain, fruit will result. The orange tree actually can do no other than produce fruit. In the same way as Christians, we don't focus on the fruit that we want to see, and certainly we don't try to fabricate fruit for the world to see. Rather, we focus on allowing Jesus to do that inner work of transformation and growing, confident in His promise that He will grow us and that He's appointed us to bear fruit that will last. Jesus was able to do His miracles. Jesus gave great teaching. Jesus did extraordinary things. He did what He did because of who He was. He didn't bolt the miracles on. He didn't bolt His teaching on. Both flowed out of who He was. A confident, affirmed child of God, full of the Holy Spirit, obedient to the Father. That's why Jesus only did what He saw the Father doing. That's why He only spoke the words the Father gave Him. Sometimes I think as Christians we can feel, well, maybe one day I'll bear fruit. Maybe when I've learnt enough, or maybe when I believe a little bit more, when I'm a super Christian, or whatever we may think inside. But actually we don't have to wait until we know a little bit more or believe a little more deeply. Like the child with the loaves and fishes, we bring to Jesus what we have to the extent that He's grown us in the season of life we're in right now. Our responsibility is simply to bear witness to what we do know, to talk and share the revelation that we already have of God's goodness. Each of us can tell the story, however simple, of what He has done for us. And that is what God asks. That is living out of the overflow. It means there's an absolute integrity between our inner life and what we speak and what we do, because what is outside flows from what is in. Jesus loved using analogies and pictures from nature, and one of His most famous comes from John 15, where He talks about Himself as the true vine and those who follow Him as the branches. And the focus is not initially on the fruit that comes at the end. The focus initially is on being rooted in Him. Again, it's all about environment. It's all about being fed. It's all about being watered and lit by the Holy Spirit. And if we will attend to our rootedness in Him, then He has promised to grow us, and He has promised and appointed us to go and bear much fruit. So this next mini-series, our last in this year of growth teaching, is simply called Living Out of the Overflow. And it's going to be great.